welcome, folks. I'm so excited to have you guys here. And I'm glad that you guys are showing up for the replay, when it's your divine timing to step into the portal. It's the 3rd of April, 2024. And I am here with my good friend, Kimberly Gare, my business bestie. But I also feel a soul sister as well. And it's really been fun to discover this kinship and see what's sort of unfolded since we've been getting to know each other. And I'm also here with my really good friend, Jason. So the three of us, I said I was so excited. It's a 3. I've been getting messages of 3s and 6s and 9s all day today. Kimberly was pulling cards earlier. She pulled the same cards basically from multiple decks in multiple instances. So it was really fun to see. Definitely interesting in between eclipse time right now, but it is the first Wednesday of the month, and I've been having these fun Healy exhibitions where people can show up and receive frequencies through the infinite quantum information field, to which we are all connected to. And that's why we can use this tool to scan and deliver frequencies. So I wanted to share with you guys just a tiny bit of a presentation here. We're going to be talking about the Healy device. It's specifically in the Blue Dot app. I want present. There we go. And there are, just as there are a gazillion ways to work with Healy, there are multiple ways to interface with the device. And so, like I said, we're using the Blue Dot app today, and that taps into the information field, which is beyond time, space, the 3rd and the 4th dimension. First, we'll do a little introduction of Kimberly and I. Basically, we want to share with you why we're showing up, why it's worth our time and your time to talk about Healy. Then we will get into the Heal Advisor Analyze app. That's the Blue Dot app, doing the Aura module, the Coach module, and the Resonance module. We'll talk about those. And then we'll talk about a pathway to the future now, to where, we get to continue to work together because this device is so amazing. I feel like people are just now becoming evolutionarily responsible enough to interface with this kind of device. It's so important for people to consent to this type of work. For example, scanning another person, giving them frequencies without their knowledge is not ethical. Interestingly enough, I've heard of people doing that, but it was like years ago. And so I feel like because Healy is becoming so popular and so not even popular, just more and more people are catching onto the device, I feel like it's because we are ready. Like maybe we weren't quite ready even a few years ago. Because giving somebody information without them saying yes to it is harmful. Giving too much light on the subject makes them combust, and so that's harmful. A little introduction on me: I'm Andromeda of Earth, or maybe you know me as Andrea Abrahamson. Either one works for me. I am an artist and a business owner. Interestingly, I found when I decided that I was an artist, I also became a business owner at the same time. And it was just something that naturally happened. And slowly I've been acquiring the knowledge and the foundation underneath me so that I can begin to build my business, which is what brought me to Healy. I joined Healy to learn how to business, to support my business, Rockets and Robots, which is a science fiction tabletop role-playing game that I'm designing with my husband. I wanted to learn how to hold the major success that I know is impending, and paying attention to the business models that Healy is demonstrating for me has really given me so much insight, not only on the business side, but really the community side as well. So it's like it's expanded my knowledge in so many ways that I had no idea that I could even get to this place of full on confidence and knowing and willpower and drive. I was an occupational therapist from 2006 till about 2013. I jumped shipped. I moved to New York City with a couple bags of my cat into my best friend's bedroom, and I was an artist, but didn't really know what the heck I was doing. Fortunately, it really was all just divine timing, because that's where I met my husband and where Rockets and Robots began to be a thing. He's been playing Dungeons and Dragons for quite a long time, designed his own games, yada, yada. It's just, before he and I hung out, I was playing so many video games. I graduated college and I just started playing World of Warcraft, and it was like it took over my world. So I had to step away from the gaming community, and I've only recently come back to it because I feel like I have so much to give and so much I can share with this community, gamers and game designers, developers, creators. And I would love to use Healy to help us in all the ways. So we can definitely continue to talk about the ways that Healy will help. I would love to introduce Miss Kimberly Gare, my business bestie. Please take yourself off mute, and feel free to chime in whenever I'm I'm talking. Okay.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Yeah, I am very much a Healy nerd. It's easy for me to show up to these things, especially because I think one of the best things, hands down for me, about Healy is the sense of community that it has brought into my life. I love pretty much anything that I do in my life. I've begun to recognize is like there's this thread of, I do it because it in some way bolsters a sense of community. And community care has been really become very important to me in this sense. And there's just been an abundance of that when it comes to Healy. But on that note, a little bit about me is that my background was in dance, and I was always kind of like a body nerd. And then I got into teaching yoga after having a dance career. And now I've kind of moved into the coaching space. I'm a somatic health coach, and I specialize in active recovery and embodiment training. So anything from, articular strength training and mobility work for your joints, your tissues, all that good body stuff, to frequency forward, energy work, and personal transformation. I do a lot of reality creation coaching, but it all kind of gets rolled into one. And that's what I've been calling it, active recovery and embodiment training. There's kind of two different elements to that. The active recovery is sort of like this self-healing method, if you will. And then the embodiment training is really when we get into like reality creation and allowing the healing that has taken root to help you bloom and to move into a new space that you really want to be in your life or in your career or in your relationships. I'm, as Andromeda said, I'm a co-founder of Sonic Bloom. That's something we created together. So business besties for sure. Together we have created the Sub Rosa Mentorship Collective, which I'm really passionate about. Particularly because I think what we're doing there is really healing desire itself within us. So all of this active recovery stuff, really like the root of this work is the nervous system. And the reason that I love Healy and that I was drawn to Healy in the first place was that Healy really serves us on the nervous system level so well. And yeah, there's something about the nervous system healing process. Active recovery of self and soul has much to do with nervous system recovery. And so I've just found, yeah, like I said, so much joy and shared passion in that space. And I think there's something about like coming back to a felt sense of autonomy. There's like a reclamation of self that's happening as we heal the nervous system. And to be doing that in like a shared entrepreneurial space is really wild. I mean, it's really seeing people coming into like their full power and having like the real felt sensation, the knowing with the capital, K, that like they can move through the world really how they desire to. So this is like very exciting to me because Healy is very much a part of like unearthing people's powers and their superpowers and their magic and their gifts and their art and all of that good stuff, their voice. So yeah, self-love, community care, new paradigm leadership, all that good stuff's rolled in there.
Yeah, 100%. Healy has come in as such a beautiful tool, an interface into this quantum field that's beyond time and space where everything exists. It's really allowing us to step into an age of miracles where we can create anything as long as we first have to imagine it, and so that's a lot of it. What we're doing here is just like breaking these old programmings that we've been told that reality is this, and that whole reality creation. That's the reason why you and I came together. We're both timeline jumping tour guides, so we're trained in this meditation. That's so it's an experience, really, as a guide guiding people through an experience that is quantum. and
Totally.
and so when I was like, oh, you're in Healy, and you're like, oh yeah, and so you get two quantum guides together, and we really just decided to share this magic with other people that want to step into their own voice and their own power and their own ability to share what's on the inside into the outside.
Yes, that's just it. That's the community piece right there. When you work with Healy, you begin to work in the quantum field. You begin to work with your own frequencies, your own psychic, capacities, and like it helps you find your people. Like it really, when you start to work with the quantum, when you start to work with this tool, you will find your people. Like it connects people, So
Yeah.
there is this thing of like communing through the tool. Like the tool is very much a social navigation tool, or it has been for me, like in a really powerful way.
Well, yeah, because it first brings us to ourselves. And
Mhm.
when we begin to like really get in touch with that and who that is, then we even can acknowledge and fully even like vibe with who our people are. Until then, we're only just seeing reflections of what's going on inside so that we can actually look at it. You know, our relationships become the Healy to tell us what's going on energetically. You know, we get that mirror into the outside world externally. Instead, you and I can just use our tablets or our phone to be like, what's going on besides our own intuition. And that's it. Exactly. When you work with the Healy, you begin to become more intuitive. You know, you really can feel and acknowledge when those intuitive hits and what that means. So we kind of like really got into like some of the philosophical stuff with Healy there, but that's just sort of what happens. You know, in general, with what I'm, you know, bringing, I really want to work and play with creatives, with business owners, with gamers, to build. Would love to share with you my business visioning play shop I've got. It's a beautiful little masterclass on building a foundation underneath you of your vision and your mission, so that you know what it is that you're even showing up for. And a lot of people are waking up and showing up to other people's dreams. And there is often a time period where we have to continue to do that financially until we've built up enough momentum in our own dreams. And then we can make that transition when it's our decision. So the reason that I show up is because of my inner knowing of my pillars of free will, knowing that each one of us have free will here on this earth to choose. We are not corralled into only one career or one mode of living. Those are imaginary cages that we often get told and then continue to buy into. And those cages, I just like, I'm not into it. I've always been a free spirit. And that comes into that second pillar of movement. I feel like we're always constantly moving. And that's when we are the most healthy, is when we remain in movement. The third pillar things that and the reason that I show up for is holiness, and knowing that everything is holy at all times. Everybody gets to be guru. Everybody has a lesson to teach me, and vice versa. We're all learning from each other. We're all divine and holy. And it's really our lived experience and our life that is our magnum opus, which is our greatest art, you know, as we are all artists and creatives on this world. So those are the things and the reasons why, you know, I'm showing up. And the pillars of our community, our greater frequency family, the pillars of frequency, which is the actual device, and using it, you know, being in community with the frequencies. Quick mental note here, even though it's like, this is such an interesting concept to me. Like, so like Healy, it's at the center, but it has to be a conscious choice to interact with it. Healy is not an addictive thing in and of itself. People fall out of working with Healy because it doesn't have this sort of like addiction to the body, unless like you have an addictive thing that you need to look at, and then it may mirror that to you and really make you look at what's going on with the whatever addiction. You know, people can use it too much. You know, it is a tool that needs to be consciously chosen, not just done on rote habit. And so I love how this pillar is a conscious choice. It's not something that's like you become addicted to Healy. I don't feel like that. And I know that that's just not a thing. The second community pillar that we have is wealth creation. And, you know, Kimberly and I have already talked a little bit about that pillar of how, you know, being business owners and building our own thing, it really taps into that autonomy and sovereignty that we are all wanting. Everybody would love to be wealthy. I don't think that there's many people that would consciously choose to be underfunded versus having an abundance. So this is really gets to how we are all wanting to just be supported. And then community, how do we do that supporting? Oh my gosh, the Healy community that we have is amazing. The frequency family is huge. It's the fourth in the world, but I really love what Kimberly and I have created with Sabrosa. And this is our Healy team. I'm going to go back, and I wanted to move these guys. Cool. Real quickly, I wanted to just share that we have 3 amazing, beautiful offerings plus that Kimberly and I have every month, offering through our community network called Sonic Bloom. Now, Sonic Bloom is for everybody, for all entrepreneurs, anybody who considers themselves soulful and heart-led and are creating on your own or whatever, like we would love to build with you, would love to see your climb, would love to witness and provide space to show up for your own business. We've got co-work that comes on 4 times a week, where we show up to and for our business. Sometimes we're talking and chatting because it's an opportunity for mentorship, but oftentimes we're just like doing our thing, working, but showing up for our business and ourselves. And then once a week, we've got the art creation station where on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, so that would be 4 p.m. Pacific, is designated art time where we show up and do our art together. And we've created another really great offering collab, which is for our people that are building our businesses together, taking actionable steps and planning together about how we're implementing the training that we receive. Every week we receive various parts of information and updates with our Healy team, in addition to calls that are open to guests like this call, people that are just kind of curious and want to dip their toes in and see what it's like to be around. So yeah, so many good things we can do and play with. Briefly wanted to talk just about Healy. Jason's heard me talk about Healy quite a bit, so thank you for your patience, my darling. Our mission is to essentially create revolutionary products, opportunities for our members to thrive and live in freedom, passion, and joy. Very much in alignment with my own, and I'm sure basically everybody in the Freedom Frequency family, because this is a mycelial network, right? We are in a lineage-based model of business, and truly, I can trace my family, my Healy family, all the way up to Marcus Schmika, the owner and creator of Healy World. Also with Christian Halper, he is the money behind Healy. Let's see. They polled people that have experienced the device. They found that 70% of users surveyed feel the benefits after only 6 times of using the product. And 94% of people that have used the device would recommend Healy to others. While it's a pretty relatively new device, it's only 5 years old. This company of Healy is parented by Time Waver, who's been around since 2005. No one's made a Healy before, a device like this that taps into the quantum field. There are other frequency generating devices, but nothing like this that doesn't diagnose. Healy does not diagnose. It does not tell you what is wrong with you. It simply will let you know what programs are most resonant to support your harmonization. And so it's completely novel, and that there is no other pocket wizard device like this ever, which, Kimberly, were you on the call when Max was talking? He came in and talked, and he shared with us. I loved the way that he explained to us that the way that Healy works is that it's a random number generator. It's very much tapping into how this experiment of they had people look at a television screen that was flashing black, white, and just kind of randomly. And they had everybody concentrate on white images. So thinking it's going to be white, it's going to be white, it's going to be white. And so influencing this random number generator to have more white screens than black screens. They found that everybody influenced the computer to create more white screens, but it was their belief in their ability to do so. It actually created more white screens than less. So if they thought that they could do it, then they actually did it more. And so this is the type of like innate sort of like knowing of how it takes my focus as somebody who's interfacing with this device. I have to focus on what I'm telling it to do. And it's interesting that the more you use it, the more you're like, how the heck did it know? How does it know this? It's just because Healy's a unicorn, and that's just it's just how she is. So today we're going to be doing quantum field stuff, but Healy also can be used to interface with our actual physical body that's right here and now and with the device by plugging in cords into it and connecting those to either some wrist bracelets or some electrode pads. And that provides a tune-up to the batteries of our cells to create an increase in cell membrane potential. It essentially gives our cells an opportunity to exchange more information with other cells because it has a more negative charge. And they found that using this microcurrent gave our body up to 40% amino acid transport. Amino acids are the proteins and the building blocks of basically everything in our body. They found that there was up to 70% protein synthesis. It says here, protein synthesis is the process by which proteins are formed to build cells. It means creating physical life, following the central blueprint stored as DNA in each of our cells. So 70% more protein synthesis and up to 500% increased ATP production. And ATP is what gives our cells energy. It says here, similar to gasoline in a car's gas tank. ATP is produced in the cell by the mitochondria. So those are our power plants in each of the cells of our body. And so using this, gives us more energy. Can be used in, oh yeah, darling, what's going on? Got your hand up, Kim.
Wow, that took me a really long time to find the hand raise thing. Okay. I just wanted to say to this point that because I'm so interested in the ways that Healy brings subtle body sensation online, this is really interesting information to me, because to me, it feels a little bit two-pronged in the sense that on one hand, Healy increases this ATP production, the amino acid transport, the protein synthesis. What's really happening here when we look at this screen you could kind of translate this to divine intelligence in a way. Like this is how information is passed, like at a cellular level. Like within the body, like certain instructions, certain information is being carried and passed in your makeup, in your physical makeup. But there's another really cool aspect to Healy. I think the second prong for me, so we have like information or divine intelligence, however you want to look at that. But then that is life-giving to the body. It generates new energy, new life from within. But then you also have this thing of subtle body sensation. So also at the cellular level, what's really happening, and I think this helps, it helps, I think, when you can imagine this. Healy is basically sending frequencies to your body, and it's vibrating the water that's in your cells. So that movement of the water within the cells that's resonating with, that's riding the waves of a particular frequency signature, that particular sequence, it's really giving the body a kind of neural input, because the language of the nervous system is force. Your body does not know where it is in space and time. It only knows where it is because it can feel the floor below it, because it can feel the wall, because it can feel the other person's hand pressing up against yours. So there's this orientation to space as well that I think is really interesting. But that vibration of the water in your cells, we can consider that a kind of neural input, if you will. That language of force that tells you what things are, where things need to go, what things need to become resonant. And so that becoming, I think, could also be translated as the subtle body sensation. So not only are you getting these like benefits that are happening in your body, the same way that you might, let's say you take a vitamin, all of that information exchange is happening. There's something happening inside, but you might not feel it. You might not feel it actually happening, but you might feel the effects, versus actually hooking the Healy up, sending frequency direct to your body. You actually get the sensation because the water inside of those cells is moving. So to some degree, like you are getting that bit of neural input, it does regulate the nervous system to a certain degree. And the result of that is that you can feel it. It will start to bring subtle body sensation online more and more and more. So not only are you receiving the benefits that something is really alchemizing in your body, you're also receiving this sort of like sensation, this like felt experience of something new, new information happening to you.
Yeah.
And the way that that is so often received is through realization, and that's really when it begins to stir up the subtle bodies, and everything that's not you kind of gets to like leave. So anyway, I wanted to geek out about that for a minute, that like you have this information aspect for the body at the cellular level, but you also have the subtle body sensation. And I think together it like this becomes a very powerful
Yeah. Very
experience using the Healy.
yeah, absolutely. I felt like the masculine and the feminine, like the information and then the sensation. When you were talking about information, I think about the biophotons that we have inside of our body that they can see go off, and when our cells exchange information, that our cells will give off a spark of light. And the more information it can exchange, the brighter we are, like on a cellular level. It's pretty wild. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, and that also kind of makes me think of like, if frequency takes two forms, you have light and you have sound. The subtle body sensation is actually more akin to that harmonic sound, like the sound of life.
Yeah. And
and that's
that's,
really what you're feeling.
yeah, definitely what we are working with here, in regards to vibration. It's the sound. Healy is a sound generator, and receiver, a transceiver, where it can receive and generate and transmit sound frequencies. It's a noise generator. 9+ million noises can be made from this, but it's not audibly heard. Which there are devices, frequency devices out there that have like an audible thing, and it's like not, it can be noxious to some people, but this is not an actual heard sound, which is fun. So lots of things, anything that you have a anything you are looking to receive support in, um Healy can really can tap it in some way, one way or another. This video here is a What is Healy video by the beautiful Adahia Sun. We've gotten into quite a bit of what Healy is, so I'm going to skip over this video for now. But what I love about it is this is a great example of leverage, to where if Jason and hey Melissa, I'm so glad you're here. If you guys hadn't been around Healy before, I would play it out, but I mean, you guys both have come to other things and talk about it, or heard us talk about it, so we're just going to keep going. Here is Mr. Nikola Tesla on the left, and then on the right, this is Marcus Schmieke. He is the co-inventor of Healy. And the time waver device, which is a huge device that requires quite a bit of training to learn how to do. But time waver practitioners can create what is called, or what are called, expert programs, to where those can be uploaded onto our Healy after purchase, and they kind of work together. But the time waver device is a very expensive device, and they wanted to get Healy's into every single home, and it's $20,000 for a big expert device is not reasonable for every single person. So that's why they began to work on the Healy. I super love this quote here. It really demonstrates why, as a former healthcare practitioner, why I would even consider being in business with something in regards to health, because I don't believe that healthcare should be a business. I think that concept does not make sense. But everything about this business in supporting our health has shown me that they really do believe in our own innate healing. And I used to say every healthcare worker should be working to put themselves out of a job. But when I heard that Marcus, what it is like working towards a world where nobody even needs a Healy whatsoever, that showed me that this is actually somebody who is in alignment with my understanding of us as powerful, healthy beings innately. So here this quote is, all matter consists of energy vibrating at different frequencies. Therefore, Healy technology is based on my belief that electromagnetic fields vibrating at quantum analyzed frequencies can provide the body with the information and the energy it needs to harmonize its own energetic self-organization and self-repair. These specific frequencies can take the bioenergetic field of the body to a state of higher order, manifesting itself in a holistic health, well-being, and vitality. So Marcus Schmieke is a quantum physicist who, after studying in college, he decided to take his understanding of the quantum, the all space, and instead of looking at it from a scientific point, he went to it from a spiritual point and decided to look towards God. And he studied the Indian Vedas. And so he very much has created this technology that is scientific, but it's also spiritual. It's a very advanced scientific tool, but it's a very advanced spiritual tool. And so if you ever think about a bell curve, because it's so advanced, this is why we're like still in these beginning phases of like people even believing that it can like do what it does, because not everybody's understanding quantum physics, and that's okay. You actually don't have to understand how it works for it to work. I think that's a little bit about like it being working with the subconscious, but this kind of breaks down a little bit so we can conceptualize how it is that we can be doing this distance work. So our body is composed of several layers. We've got our tissues and organs, and those are made up of cells, right? What makes up cells? We've got molecules. Making up molecules are atoms, and atoms are made of subatomic particles. And these are the protons, neutrons, electrons. And when I say that, I'm making the charge more negative of the cell membrane, it's like we're adding ions, we're adding negative ions, those electrons, to the space. So what makes up these subatomic particles? They are around because of energy, frequency, and vibration. Well, how do you get energy, frequency, and vibration? You get those from the information field. And that's what we are going to be working with today. So love this quote real quick here from Burkhard Heim. Put simply, the information field is the link between mind and matter. Everything we do, everything we think, we feel, all of our mental matters and topics are stored in the information field. That's why I said it's the all space. So Healy can, with the intention of the user and the consent of whoever would like, can scan and analyze our information field and the energy that's in us, around us, and such. We can work with our auras, or our aura, our chakras, the information centers of our body that interface with our organs, right? And when we're interfacing with the chakras here, we're talking about how open or closed they are, in the sense of like how well are they communicating with the quantum information field. So it's a different kind of aura analysis than like a Kirlian photography, which would be a light sort of frequency analysis. But then we also have the coach, which essentially gives us an idea of where our blockages are from us creating a specific reality that we are intending. And then it will give us the frequencies that we would benefit from to release those blockages, so that we can then continue on and create the reality that we're wanting. The third way to work with this Blue Dot app is resonance. And that essentially picks out which programs or modules your biofield would benefit from, so that we become in harmony with and like our most original blueprint expression. So like when we were babes, like fresh, and without any sort of experience, how they say the body keeps the score. And so resonance will let us know what types of frequencies you'd benefit from. And I love this concept that Marcus has sort of planted in a video I watched, when he said that programs that benefit my bones may benefit your cardiovascular system. And so do not pay so much attention to the words, and please never like diagnose yourself. Oh, my kidney's wrong because it's coming up kidney programs, or da 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 da. It's not about that. It's never saying there's anything wrong with you. It's just that the frequencies that benefit the kidney would actually, in studies, they have tons of scientists that study for Healy. I don't know the exact number, but lots. Yeah. people have been studying frequencies for quite a while. If you want an example, there's Dr. Carolyn McMakin, who's been working with frequency since the 70s. Has been researching and working with many people to actually, this is my favorite, she is likely the only doctor that can say that she cures fibromyalgia with her frequency device, which is why Marcus Schmika worked with Dr. Carolyn McMakin to create the Healy, which is a pulsing electromagnetic field device. It actually has two Healys inside of it, and it produces the magnetic field around 10 feet around the device. Like I said, it's got two frequencies, and that is having to do with Dr. Carolyn McMakin's frequency specific microcurrent, where you run two frequencies at once. Really interesting, beautiful stuff. So we are not lacking of information about this stuff. It's just a matter of, what do you want to see? I would love to do a scan for anybody who would like to receive. I believe everybody here is actually already in my device. And so if anybody would like to, just unmute yourself, say so. And if not, it's totally okay. I can do myself.
It's okay. You can scan me.
Yeah. What would you like, Melissa?
Concentration, peace, sleep.
Ooh.
You name it. Work has been crazy.
Gotcha. Yeah. The first thing that came out was the gemstones. I know we've done those before. I don't know, Kim, what do you think? Was there any intuitive hits that came to you?
Yeah, honestly, the job programs are like amazing because so many of them are about like exhaustion and like flushing mental fatigue. And yeah, working with like nerve harmony, those are really
Okay.
awesome. And also
Yes.
the gold programs too, like care release. Like the gold programs are really, oh, they're so good. They're so like gentle. There's something about them that just, it feels very cloud-like and pillowy to me in my system. And just actually to piggyback that point really quick, I liked that you talked about the prescriptive element of Healy and how it's not really like a diagnosis, but there is a prescriptive element to it. And I think,
Yeah. And that we can choose that, like,
yes, like you just will receive it a certain way. Like every
absolutely.
time I run the release program, it knocks me out. Like I fall asleep, you know, whereas I know other people use the release program for like, you know, emotional purposes. Like that's my go-to for sleep. So, you know, I think,
Cool. Well, does that
yeah,
sound okay with you, Melissa, to do the jobs programs for you?
That sounds excellent.
Okay. And then I was thinking, so I'm just gonna connect with my device here. And then we could do the gold programs as well after that. I think Kimberly is right. Yeah, I just wanted to hold my focus. Okay, it's picking out balanced nerves, exhaustion acute, exhaustion systemic, activation, and positive thoughts. So I can send these programs to you now if that's okay.
Yep, it's fine.
Okay. Beautiful. And so, like, no time, no space, you can like receive these frequencies now, but you can also receive them in the future by tapping into this now moment and remembering and knowing that, like, you've just received a deposit into your thought bank with these frequencies, and you can look in the mirror and match them whenever you want. feel free to reach out anytime and I can pop in your program. But to just give you a little bit of empowerment, because like it's never about like always coming back to the Healy. It's about knowing that we can access these frequencies at any time, right? It's there, it's available to us in that divine space, in that quantum space. Sometimes it's a little easier to tap in than others. Mhm. I'm so glad that you said something. I know you have to go here.
I'm actually not going to go to the other call. They stress me out.
Hey, we do not need that.
Nope, I decided I'm done today, so I'm going to stay with you guys.
Okay, well, you're so welcome, definitely. And good on you for choosing that, like, maybe that's not where I want to place my energy right now. Yep, so we went into resonance, and like the deciding, like we could it's at the top here, it says all Healy programs. We can ask Healy, well, which modules would benefit her the most. I absolutely love choosing the goals programs because they have the 144, they have 144,000 frequencies in the gold programs. And I love how Healy has given us these most important frequencies at the most lowest cost model. Like everybody gets access to the gold programs. And that to me says a lot about the company that they would offer that. Here it's tapping into balance, being pure energy, and relax. May I vibrate them your way?
Yes.
Okay. Yay.
I didn't realize they had so many frequencies in that program set, but that makes a lot of sense to me. Like, it's my favorite program set.
She's talking about the gold, right? Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely an expert in anytime like something's going on. You always know which, like, through lived experience. It's not like you just intellectualize these balance, being, pure energy.
I didn't use the Blue Dot app for the entire first year and a half of having a Healy. Like, I would just use the program based off of what I intuitively was choosing. And then I would repeat it over and over and over and over until I got a really good sense of like, oh, how this one actually affects my body.
Yeah, you got a
I'm telling
lot
you, the
of
gold. Ugh, I love the gold.
you got a lot of lived experience. Like you really get to know it. And every time you run a program, it will not be the same program as the previous time, because Healy will read your field and will give you the set of frequencies that are best for you out of a set pool. And if your body wouldn't benefit from a program, it actually will not give it to you, the frequency to you. Yay. Is there anything else, Melissa, that sounds yummy while we're here? Really been loving the Courage program.
What is the Courage program?
Well, there are 152 different courageous to be this and courageous to be that frequencies that it will scan and determine, how could we benefit from being courageous, in what way. That's fun. I also really like the I Ching. I like that for attempting to understand a situation, getting a different sort of perspective of the
Let's
situation.
run that one if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all. I absolutely love it. It will give 5 different symbols to you. And the I Ching is a very ancient system. I want to say a Chinese system, that it's 64, or the 64 different symbols, which it's no coincidence that's the 64 different genomes we have in our body, and yada yada. And so it's very much like like with as within, so without kind of feel to me, and the holiness of like they tapped into something really yummy with this symbol. So I'm happy to run this for you. So I want you to just concentrate on the situation, and I'm just going to concentrate on tapping into you and your energy while it does this. Okay, the first one here, it says insight and brightness. Number 30 symbolizes clarity and awareness. Ooh, that's yummy. Next we have before completion, number 64. Ooh, that seems significant. It says symbolizes an almost completed state and makes a point to end these gently and carefully. Next, it says exhaustion, distress, number 47. Symbolically indicates distress, exhaustion, and reminds one to return to one's own strength. Next is progress, rise, number 35. Like it says, symbolizes progress, prosperity, and growth. And lastly here, the way of living, the demeanor, number 10, indicates situations where the path inward stands in front of one to achieve inner maturity. How does that feel in regards to the situation that you were thinking about?
Yeah, I'm not sure, honestly.
Yeah, that's okay. It doesn't have to be anything like specific, and it might be sort of unfolded in time, in the sense of, I feel like these are kind of general symbols in regards to like giving insight into that sort of situation, or potentially what's to happen next in regards to what's happening. So it's okay for us to not know, like what's going to happen, like that's very much on brand with being human, in regards of like we're not supposed to know everything, and so that's why, like, when we attempt to divine things or get into deeper, we often have to get it through symbols. That subconsciousness and that unconsciousness, it doesn't speak English, so it's like doing its best to convey. Is it okay with you if I vibrate these frequencies to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm super happy to get a PDF of this and text it to you, so that if
Yeah.
you're like thinking about it, you can like go back and look.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And same thing with like, if you are feeling like this program here that we just created is supportive for you, I'm happy to run it again. It costs me nothing to do that besides my time, and I'm so happy to support you in that way until you can get your own. I know that that's something that's at some point, I honestly think that all of us are going to have Healy's at some point. Just a matter of how old we are, how many years down the road it will be. All of us will be working with frequency technology in one way or another, whether it's this device or another. We'll all be using it to live higher qualities of life and longer lives. I'm going to at least 331. It's a lot of Earth in this space to explore. I've got a lot of languages to learn, so. How about you, Jason? Does anything sound yummy for you? It's okay if not.
I'll say the last one you did for me was pretty good.
Yeah, was that the courage one or
No, it was
no, we didn't.
You did it on the project I was working on, and then what you did is like, oh man, the thing this needs most is rest. I'm like, yeah, I'm exhausted. That's why I'm not working on it.
Yeah. Would you like me to do your game?
Sure.
Since we did that last time.
Yeah, I know. But then I like it was funny too, because like after you started doing it over the weekend, I just felt super, 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 super tired. Like normally I don't feel tired and I don't sleep much and I still don't feel tired. And then this weekend after she ran the frequency, I was just like, man, I'm exhausted. I just slept all weekend.
Yeah.
But then after that I felt good. And I was like, oh, I feel like I can do stuff again.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then my job is a way of draining that out right away as fast as possible. So
yeah, I
a
mean,
little better though. We've gotten like cash flow neutral recently. So
at the company.
Yeah.
Well, it's completely up to you whether you would like me to support your game or just literally support you. Like,
Either one are good.
I'm not at all surprised that, running sleep programs would actually bring you to a point where you actually wanted to get some good sleep.
Yeah. No, I mean, I need to do that, I think, more often.
Yeah.
It's just weird how I'm not usually tired most of the time. I'm not tired in the sense I feel like I need to go to sleep. I'm like burnt out, but then I don't feel like I need to sleep and I just stay up and it's just weird.
Yeah.
Like
That sounds to me like you've gotten past the point of your body recognizing that you're tired, that you just sort of like ignore the stimuli. Like you get overstimulated and you just start to ignore it.
No, you're kind of right about that. I mean, because it's actually hard to turn off my cerebral cortex after doing my work. I think it's like I do mental work all day, programming. Today was pretty intense. I had to tell everyone that we were doing things wrong and nobody believed me. And at the very end, they're just like, oh, wait a minute, we did miss something. I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah, you missed that
And it's
zero
like,
there. I just told you.
I know, but I didn't have the answer though. And they're like, but you don't have the answer. I'm like, I know, I'm just telling you, we didn't figure it out completely. Because people are uncomfortable not knowing things. And I brought to people's attention that none of us know this thing and we need to figure it out. And that's the hardest thing to do.
Well, you're so
And then
brave.
people start looking at you like you're incompetent because you don't know things. It was like, no, we just need to figure it out. I'm not expressing that I don't know things all the time. I guess I am expressing that, but I don't see that as not, it's almost like looked down upon in the culture.
100%.
Like you have to know everything. You have to know your field. What?
That's a very much in general thing. Like,
yeah.
you got to get the right answer to get the A,
right.
And so the unknowing is very uncomfortable.
I'm super comfortable with it. So I'm just
That's
like,
great. And I'm not at all surprised, being as spiritual, and as deep as I know that you are capable of going to. Like, you dwell in those unknown spaces often, and it takes practice, and it really is a muscle. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Jason? How may I serve your being today? You want you or your game?
how about this? How about like trying to find a community that'll support my projects? 'Cause, I'm working on like an engine that I want to
Yeah.
give out to people that they because I did game, like, it's interesting because I kind of have a similar path that you know Andromeda had, where I was into gaming like super big, like when I was young, and I was like, okay, I need to stop this and go to more spiritual things. So this gaming, it's a waste of time. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then
Exactly.
lately, it's like it's just been being pounded back into me. I'm just like, well, maybe I don't need to make them, but I can like help other people make them. And because right now I'm working on like an engine, I'm not really working on a particular game or what I wanted. I don't have time to work on a game, and I don't really want to spend time on it. But I know other people want to work on them, so I'm just like, hey, use my engine, and then maybe I can make some money that way, or people could
For
get
sure.
some
This is
recognition on
great.
that.
I love how you're like, I just like might as well, like, I want to support the community. I want to find my community. Like,
Yeah,
I immediately was like, oh yeah, we're running a coaching program for you, because you're like, yeah, I want to create this reality to where
yeah.
you've found. Now tell me, you're grateful and ecstatic now that you've found what kind of community? Like, what are we looking for?
I don't even know. I've
Okay.
just been isolated my whole life, so I'm just like, I
A
don't know.
supportive community?
Sure. Well, that's why I'm here
Just
actually, because Andromeda is
yeah.
one of the only people I've ever run into where I'm just like, oh, hey, wait a minute, here's my people. Where are they? And then she's kind of a loner herself sometimes. I don't know.
Well, I had been. I really
Yeah,
felt like I had been until I found Healy. And what's interesting about it is I felt like I actually was around other people that were like, that got it.
yeah,
Like everybody who we understand, like something. There's an undercurrent that
yeah.
ties us in together. And it's not that we all agree on everything. That is
Right.
definitely not it. But
Well, it's
there,
it's a struggle for me because like I've already thought I found those communities, and all those communities have basically imploded, like completely imploded, where all the people I thought that I'd
yeah,
have in my life the rest of my life now hate each
Kali
other.
Yuga,
And
like
yeah, Kali, yep. Like, wow, I didn't think I'd ever be in this situation. These two people are divorced. These people are divorced.
uh,
I never even tried getting married yet. I'm like 43. It's just like the whole thing just imploded. And then I'm just like, oh, I'm back to just sitting here making games. Like, how did this happen?
okay, so I'm grateful and ecstatic now that I found a supportive community where I feel seen. And finish this.
Finish. Oh,
Maybe
and
supported.
we'll leave it. Just put dot dot dot.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna leave it in scene. Okay. And like, I'm gonna
Okay.
leave it no
I like the
period.
and dot 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 though. It just leaves it open.
I will do that for you, Jason.
Let's let the divine current figure it out when I
I
can't.
love it. That's why I don't put a period at the end when I do the coaching. I let the universe do it. But like, this
Right?
is the literally being like, okay, Krishna, like,
Yeah.
give me what you got. I'm here to open and receive, and I'm trusting and surrendering. So I want you to be in this mindset of just like seeing and feeling yourself in that community right now as we run it. We scan your field. It's going to connect to the device again, but you are with your community, seen, supported. Okay. So it's picking out the group of goals as providing the least amount of beneficial energy to your new reality. So we can go a little further into goals, and it's picking out the resolving stress factors, personal and character, goal alignment and intent, and resolving motivational disorders. So we're going to pick that out and analyze in your community, scene, supported. Okay. So it's saying here 95% relevant for this frequency. I identify, harmonize, and transform the following issue that is affecting my motivation. I have to do everything myself, and others have no idea and do everything wrong. Well, we weren't talking about that or anything just a few minutes ago. 93%. It says, I identify, harmonize, and transform the following issue that is affecting my motivation. I sell myself short so as not to make others envious. 90% relevant here. The next one, it says, I purposefully live my true intentions. I define my goals realistically. This gives me a boost and mobilizes my forces to achieve them. Next, 89%. I purposefully live my true intentions. I refrain from leaving my life to chance. I consciously take the initiative for my actions. Next, 81%. I recognize, harmonize, and transform what causes stress to my personality and character. Overload in everyday life. Last one here, it says 80%. I recognized, harmonize, and transform what causes stress to my personality and character value system. So really just acknowledging your value system. So these are the frequencies that Healy has picked out to be beneficial for your body to help you release any blockages that are in the way of you like realizing this community space. Is it okay if I vibrate it to you?
Yep.
Coolio. And like the programs I've done earlier, and like I said to Melissa, I'm happy to do this program multiple times a day for you. I really find that 1 to 3 times a day when it comes to the coach is really beneficial to just like conscious transformation. Just support. Makes it a little easier to do the thing. I love how you want to share your game or this engine that you've created. So it's not just sitting there. Like it's very responsible as a creative parent in the sense of you're like, I don't want to just hold on to this baby. Like there is life that needs to be experienced.
I think it's a good way to get off of video games, actually, to make your own. Like if you're addicted to gaming, start making your own, and you can kind of like, I mean, that can be even more addictive, but like you actually learn skills that you can apply other places. So you're filling in an addiction, but you're also learning skills rather than just, I mean, playing them can too. Like if you're playing those crazy, like I know World of Warcraft, you actually had to like, I don't know, work as a team and learn teamwork in order to destroy some of that stuff. So it's
Yeah,
like,
that's what I played.
yeah.
Yeah, we would partner
that.
up with like, 5 other people and have synchronized like plans to take down this thing. So it was definitely that it was social, it was mental, and then it was performance as well. And this is why I would love to see gamers and game developers to like get this in their hands so that they have more information to do the things that they love. And how amazing would it be to be able to do the thing that you love and to be able to do it well and without shame and guilt, and like let the thing that you love to do be joyful and not harmful, because
And
you're
not making addictive games, making games that like are, because a lot of these games are designed to be more of gambling devices.
absolutely
Like, wow, this didn't have to be this at all. Like they could have like redesigned this game like this. You could have fun with it and put it in the corner after you're done with it. But it's like, that's not what they wanted. They want you dumping your money into it. They want you,
For
whatever.
sure. For sure. But as like conscious creators, we have the ability to put different stuff out there. Like this is our world.
You're
You
seeing
know?
that there's a South Park that actually addresses this very thing.
I don't doubt it at all because it was a huge thing. And I spent so
He
much
suggested for them to go
time.
back and play board games, actually. It was like at the end of the episode, it's like Kyle, when I think it was Kyle or Stan or Kyle, like ended up having to just go play board games instead. And they have all like the really like nerdy board games get get a cameo in that episode where it's like, oh, I know that
Nice.
board game, I know that board game. It's games that like only nerds would know about though.
But it's
So
like
interesting.
there's truth in the fact
Yeah.
that playing games provides us with that sense of community, that shared experience together, that little bit of, it gives us an avenue for healthy competition and becoming better and just like lots of beautiful things. But there's that like it's like many things that have been put out there, you can take it and run with it to go make money. And it's like, that's, we can do all the things. We can be beneficial to people and we can make money and have a business and yada, yada, yada. It doesn't have to be exploitative.
Well,
And
actually,
you're
that's the
absolutely
interesting-
correct in that a lot of these games are like gambling and they just want you to dump your money into
Yeah.
it. So we
I mean,
can do it
actually, I remember
better.
I've had this conversation with you where I actually have linked the desire for gaming to like Vedic, some Vedic texts and Vedic explanations of like the spiritual realm and how they're actually connected and related and why we even want to play them in the first place.
It makes all the
And
sense.
I could do like I could do like a whole slideshow of like going into detail because some like I've mentioned that to you, but I've never gone into in-depth detail, I don't think.
I would love to. Let's schedule that. Let's have that conversation and record it and share it with people if anybody is
I think it's a
interested
good
in
idea.
the spiritual, like why it's even beneficial. Why would we waste our time? Like it can be both.
Well, it brings up the topic is what is waste of time and what is
Mm,
I mean, like I'll just go into like just the core bit of it
okay.
is like, so if you think about the spirit world, like you have like the material world where if you don't eat, you die. If you don't defend yourself, someone will kill you. But like in the spiritual realm, you don't die. If you don't eat, you don't die. Your body doesn't die. The spirit's eternal. So when you're in the spiritual world, there's no way to die. You don't need to do anything to maintain anything, and yet you still do things. You know what I mean? So the purpose is completely different. So it's interesting how it's like things don't matter, but they matter more in some sense. And so like when you're gaming, it's like you get to be more playful, as if like if you make mistakes in a game, there's no consequence. I mean, there's consequence in the game, but there's no consequence. So it's fun, right? Because there's
Yeah.
no like negative consequences. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Isn't that interesting?
It
When you
is
start
very
like
interesting.
getting into depth in it?
I realized the other day that like one of the reasons that I game is because I can create something that I can then just walk away from and just
Yeah.
like it doesn't matter. None of that matters. And that's a very spiritual kind of concept of like non-permanence and
Mhm.
like, everything comes and goes, and I'm just practicing little deaths when I, like just walk away from it.
Another thing I've noticed is like, what's the reason that we had the Industrial Revolution? Like, we industrialized so we didn't have to work as much, so we could have more free time, right? So
Yeah.
things could do this. But what did we do with the free time is we invented one of the most complex machines ever to exist, which is a computer, and one of the most complex pieces of software ever to exist, which is an operating system. And John Carmack, the guy that made Doom, would talk about how developing video games was more complicated than aerospace engineering, because he actually went into that. Like he made Doom, and then he went to be like an aerospace engineer or something, or like he did that in his spare time. I don't know. It was something interesting, but he's going like, yeah, this stuff is actually easy. Like video games, it's actually more complicated than this, And just like, so then we build that. And what games are people building now after all that time? We have all these gun games and everything, but now people are actually building farming simulators.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like now
Simulation
that
of
we've
everything.
now that we've gotten away from farming, we built a simulation of farming. You know, like, what do we want to do? Now we can do anything we want. What are we going to do? Let's simulate farming. The thing that we, stopped doing so we could create this machine to simulate farming for us. You know what I mean? It's just like this really weird loop that happened. Like when I
Humans
go
are so
farm or
interesting.
something.
We're very we're just very creative. I feel like if
Yeah.
there's a void, we're gonna fill it with something.
Yeah, the Simpsons episode. There was a Simpsons episode where Marge wanted the kids to rake leaves, and Homer's like, "No, we're going to the arcade." And then there was a VR raking leaf simulator at the arcade, and the kids grabbed it. We're just like, "This is great! This is amazing!" And Marge is just looking at him, going like, "There's leaves to be raked at home. Like, what the heck?" I didn't,
Well, The Simpsons is totally something else. That's a whole nother
right?
discussion, like, of amazing, like, time travel and prediction and
Right.
all those kinds of things. I would love to give, unless Kimberly, would you like any frequencies? I would love to provide if you do.
Well, just for time's sake, I want to honor everybody's time. I feel
Yeah.
like you and I can always do those, like, on our own.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to put something into my coach if we don't do it here. So like this is good because it gave me all the, um, all the inspiration.
Yeah.
And then actually, I might save my question. Maybe I'll just ask a question
Please.
instead. I feel like that might be a
Yeah.
better use of our time.
Sounds good.
But I'm curious about the salts program. I
Yeah.
actually don't know anything about it. It's like the one I haven't really touched. Do you know anything about it?
Well, what I know is that it has captured the frequencies of the various minerals and salts, and so the stuff that's inside of our
Oh,
body.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's like a digital nutrition type of thing where it gives us the frequencies of the various minerals that we need, and it's kind of salty.
That's really cool because,
It's like like the Bach flowers, they're it's kind of harsh a little bit. It's very similar type.
Now I'm gonna
energy.
have to dive into it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just haven't touched it. But it actually means minerals. That makes sense. Makes a lot of sense, especially because people who are reaching for like the miracle health stuff, like usually it boils down to the stuff that's just like jam-packed with minerals. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. That's so important. And same thing with the water. That I'm so glad that you mentioned that earlier about how it requires the water in our cells to receive the frequencies, because if we're not hydrated enough, we're not going to get the benefit of the frequencies. That was something that is very explicit, and you have to have not only like good water, but it has to have minerals in it in order for the electricity to be conducted, like anything to go through. You have to have those trace minerals in the water.
Yeah, minerals are crazy. Like, minerals are definitely divine because I remember I was doing this like sacred container and it was all about womb health, and we really got into like the nitty-gritty bioscience around minerality and what it does in the womb space, and it just like absolutely blew my mind. So now I'm excited to like dive into that.
Yeah, add it to your little personal protocol. I've been using the courage. I tend to go to like courage and then gemstones, and then I'll do an aura scan, and then I'll figure out the resonance, and then I'll run the scalar in the resonance, and then do the microcurrents. That's kind of like what I do in the morning to just like set myself up. Yeah. So by all means, reach out to me if you've received frequencies today. And if you want to get frequencies in the future, reach out to me, reach out to Kim, reach out to anybody who's invited you here, because they would love to support you and they would love to spend more time with you if they are offering scans. these are what Healy has for promotions this month. There's always going to be a sale. You know, it's pretty rare that devices are full price, except for like some of the models. Like not all the models are going to be on sale all the time. The gold is not on sale. The resonance is not on sale. But the professional models, the ones with the 229 different programs, that's on sale 50% off. You get a free coil, which is $225, and the Soul Cycle program module for free, which I highly, highly recommend. I purchased and got a free Soul Cycle with it, and I just love this program. Acceptance. I wish I knew a few more off the top of my head what they were. I think one of them is like burden. It's just very much, it's like well-being and just feeling good in our own space. Love that module. And then the Mag Healy Professional, which has all of the Mag Healy programs, is 50% off, and you get the free Meridian module, which is the only module for the mag that you can run at a distance. And that is for free right now when you get the Mag Healy Professional, which is like over $1,000 that you're saving on that. The Meridian module is basically like a coach for the mag, and works with the meridians that we have in our body. It's essentially like acupuncture, giving yourself access to acupuncture with that. So those what we would recommend. Of course, if you prefer and you're not able to purchase these professional models, you can start at a lower edition at a more affordable for you, and you can upgrade your device at any time that you are ready. Any questions you guys have? If not, thank you guys for coming. I really am so appreciative. It's so nice to just hang out and see you. I'm so glad you came, Melissa.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
We'll talk soon. We'll talk
Sounds
soon.
good. Sounds good,
All right.
darling.
Have a great night, guys.
You too.
How long could you get afford to stay?
Yay, Jason, thank you for coming.
No problem.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.